This is a quick walkthrough for the backend for the VisitAr project. The backend for this project is built using Node.js and Express.js to provide the structure for a RESTful API. The project is hosted on Heroku's free hobby plan, and the database we use is Firebase's Cloud Firestore, which is stored on Firebase. Postman was also used to manage and test the required endpoints. Postman has several features that allow us to publish documentation on any collection of endpoints, as we can see here on the screen. So this is the published documentation for the backend. So I will go through a quick walkthrough on some of the endpoints that I used in the project, along with some of the database structure. The first endpoint we can see here is the getAuth endpoint. This is fairly straightforward GET request, and we can see it running here in Postman. So we can see that the request here is returning a JWT or a JSON Web Token. This token will be used to store on the front end and used to validate any further requests made to the server. If we look at a table in the database, the user log table, we can see that all of the tokens that are being created are being saved here along with the date and time they were created. So we go back into the documentation. The next endpoint I would like to show is the getTour.data endpoint. The endpoint requires one parameter, as we can see here. That parameter is the ID. The authentication token that we've seen in the getAuth is not passed as a parameter or any body data. It is sent in the application header as an authorization bearer token. So we can see this getTour.data working in Postman. Here we can see all the data of the tour we selected by the ID. So here, for example, we can see the name of the tour, the ID, the starting point, and the overview. We can also see this tour stops array. This returns an array of all the stops in the tour, sorted by their IDs. So that'll be all the information that gets displayed along the route of the tour. The final endpoint I think I will show is I would like to go through is the post-tour log endpoint, as you can see here. Again, this doesn't take any parameters, and the authentication is required, as sent in the header, but it does require a body of JSON data. We can see here in the docs an example of the JSON data we sent. This is actually the state at the end of the tour being sent. And so from this body, only some of the information is relevant that we would like to see. So this endpoint will keep what we want relevant, such as the places they visited and when, and the date, start times of the tour, tokens collected, etc. So if we look at the example of this in the database, we can see two examples here of only the date and start times being collected. The tokens collected in a Boolean value of if the tour was completed. And we can see here the array of landmarks visited that are being collected as well. The timestamps are also being formatted in accordance with Firebase's standards of formatting timestamps. And we can also see some other information on the database, so like the landmarks collection, where all the landmarks are stored, all the information on the landmarks is stored, like displayed along the route. the tours endpoint. So this is where we got that tour data endpoint from. The tour stops is an array of references to the landmarks collection, and a tour log, which in the user log, which we've seen in the get auth token.